We had a briefing by our attorney, and did so in closed session to protect attorney-client privilege. And as was the business handled last month, we instructed our attorney to investigate the agreement to be executed with Randolph Hospital, the purchaser of Randolph Health, going forward. And Mr. Sugg has come back to us with his report and a change in wording. I will ask Mr. Sugg to just, for the record in open session, just tell us what the change is, and then we'll see what the council wants to do. Fair enough?
Yes, sir. The action is actually being requested of the city council is whether or not you're to authorize the mayor to execute on behalf of the city of Asheboro a signature page to the asset purchase agreement between Randolph Health and American Healthcare Systems, LLC. It says the city of Asheboro joins in the execution of this agreement for the purpose of enforcing the buyer's obligations, that'd be American Healthcare Systems, under section 3.3 of the agreement on behalf of sellers or any successors. With your permission, Mr. Mayor, I'll just comment that the section 3.3 pertains to operational commitments, and that also states that in addition to the purchase price and deposit noted above, which is part of the agreement that the city has no role in, the parties acknowledge and agree that the following is additional consideration for this agreement, and this would be the part that the city is being asked to join in for purposes of enforcement. A, buyer intends to and will make commercially reasonable efforts to operate Randolph Health, licensed as a North Carolina acute care hospital with the complement of health care clinical services and service lines reasonably appropriate for a similarly situated hospital for a period of at least 10 years subsequent to the closing date. B, buyer intends to and will make commercially reasonable efforts to dedicate reasonably necessary ongoing capital and operating resources to ensure the continuation and advancement of the clinical service lines, programs, and other healthcare activities provided by sellers in seller's service area prior to the closing. C, buyer intends to and will make commercially reasonable efforts to make capital investments in the hospital and in its core service lines. The question that came up during the discussions and the change that was made pertains to stating and talking about the being an express third-party beneficiary, that being the city. Provided the city of Asheboro shall be an express third-party beneficiary hereof solely for the purpose of enforcing buyer's obligations under section 3.3 of this agreement on behalf of the sellers or any successors thereto. That's what I just read. The line that was added, such enforcement shall be acted upon only by the decision of the Asheboro City Council. So it would be your role to evaluate the feasibility of taking any particular course of action in response to reports that you may or may not receive. So the question before you is whether or not you want to authorize the mayor to execute that on behalf of the municipal corporation. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Questions?
Could you explain this escrow agreement one more time?
That actually, I would be happy to, but it'd be inappropriate because that's actually outside of what the city is involved in negotiating. We are limited to enforcing that section 3.3. Now we could always look at that 3.3. You can look at all assets that are available. We would look at any and all assets that are there and potentially available at the time it's under review. But that is a separate section of which
it's
the
like
city's
a
not
bond.
part.
They've got a bond, like that type thing, right?
Okay, any questions of Mr. Sugg? It was explained pretty well during the, absolutely perfectly, during the closed session. So if there are no questions, I will ask the council for their thoughts on this question before us.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion that we authorize the office of mayor to enter into this agreement as presented by Attorney Suggs.
Have a motion by Mr. Moffitt. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Bell. Any discussion? Now is the time. Any discussion?
I'd just like to go on record saying that I have some reservations about this, but I mean, this is such an important issue. Asheboro needs a hospital, and so apparently we're taking some chances, risk for the city on this, but I think that we have to do it, so.
Noted. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Suggs, for your research and diligence on this. You do a good job of protecting us. And in this case, we'll keep our fingers crossed and make sure, just hope that we don't have to find out how much you protected us. All right. And you will have that document for me to sign at a later date. Tonight. All right, okay, do we have a list of, any upcoming, I do have tickets here, I have some, did y'all get tickets to that chamber annual meeting?
First time around, I did.
They did.
Okay, do you have them now?
Yeah.
Okay, these are extras. I have a handful of extras here that Joanne put on in my place and said, anybody wants an extra? All right, we'll let Joanne,
Big Bite needs them, reach out to Joanne.
well, I'm sure, yeah, if anybody needs an extra, just call Joanne. I expect Katie will call.
Yeah.
Katie always wants that.
I think we're holding some out for her anyway.
Okay. Bill McCaskill's birthday is on the 16th. Happy birthday, Bill.
Boy, another one, God.
Mayor does not sing. So, don't get your hopes up. We can, okay, Driving Miss Daisy closes Sunday. Friday night Bluegrass is tomorrow night. Is that right? Next Friday? Third Friday, okay. Joint meeting of the Board of Commissioners in the Public Works Conference Room on Tuesday, March 1st at 7 p.m.
So the council members will put that on their calendar. Tuesday, March 1st at 7 p.m. at the Randolph County with the commissioners as the mayor said, in our Public Works Conference Room. You will get your special call meeting notice. This is just to go ahead and put it on your calendar. That's an unusual day for us, an unusual day for the commissioners as well, but that's when we could all get together.
All right, and then the 11th, the postponed event for the Chamber Annual Meeting. And many of you know, most of you probably already know this, but, and it's no secret now, Chris and Neil Griffin were to be awarded the co-winners of the Citizen of the Year Award. And in light of what happened, they went ahead and gave Neil the plaque. Neil is at this point doing something I couldn't do, but planning to stand up at the annual meeting and talk about his brother. So, be pretty emotional, I'm sure. That's all I've got. Shelley, we'll start down there.
Sure, just one other thing for the calendar, just want to remind everybody that the Asheboro Police Department is going to be doing their second Citizens Academy. It's going to start in March. I was fortunate to do it last fall and really learned a lot, so would encourage all of you to take the time to do that. It was several group sessions during an evening for a couple hours. We did a Saturday out at the Emergency Services Training Center. I mean, it it was great, and the thing that was most valuable to me was meeting our officers and just talking with them about what they do every day. So encourage everybody to apply for that. Also want to thank our city crews for keeping our streets clean of winter, mixed weather, et cetera, that we had for not one, not two, but 3 weeks in a row. So just want to thank them for that. That's all I got.
Charles?
No, I'm good. I'm happy.
Yeah, I got complaints from the city cleaning the streets too efficiently because there wasn't no sledding.
Yeah,
Aside from that,
I got
they did a
brought
good
up in
job.
my neighborhood too.
Wait till you drop that lead truck in your driveway.
Yeah.
I think we need to build a sledding park.
In Jamaica.
Oh,
That's all I don't.
Walker. Glad John's back off his crutches, and Clark has, it looks like Clark's getting around well.
Yep. Thank you.
The two,
Between the two of us, we've got one good hit.
yeah. Walker?
Played our full game tonight, had a wide range of interest, things to take care of in the city, under the city's umbrella, but just working through the winter, and everybody's doing well.
Mr. Burks?
As I sit here, I can say from personal experience now, if you have not had your shingles vaccine, go ahead and get it. And that's it.
And if you've had one 3 or 4 years ago, you need to go ahead and get another one because it has been improved.
Yeah.
I got told, I've had the first shot on the second round, gotta wait about 2 or 3 months.
Just as a matter of perspective, the new people will find out that apparently most people think that our job is to bring restaurants to Asheboro. That's our sole job. So I was rather amused the other day when there was a Facebook feed talking about, from another municipality, about how, gosh, I wish we could have the restaurants that Asheboro has. So,
No.
perspective.
Really?
There really
Yeah.
was.
That's awesome.
There really was.
There was a feed from you.
You should have let me know about that.
So I enjoyed it.
The best one I've heard, and I'm gonna take just a moment for this. There was a thread on there about Asheboro not having this and that, and Cracker Barrel and Outback and Olive Garden, and somebody, I swear to goodness, and it said somebody that everybody in this room knows, said, they're not coming to Asheboro because the city charges too much for them to come here. They told me they wouldn't come because the city wants too much money. And I called the guy up and I said, who in the hell told you that we get to charge somebody to come to town?
We pay people to come to town.
Yeah, we pay people.
Damn. I was embarrassed to know that guy. All right. Thanks, Jane. Bill?
Since it's been, in the last cold days, usually walk at the track, but I've been walking in the mall recently. And man, I am really impressed with that mall, the inside of that mall. It looks nice. I talked with the manager the other day. I congratulated him. And he also said that the city would work with him real good on that, and the company real good on that too. And they're working on the parking lots. They got other things they're doing. We just gotta talk it up and get more businesses in that mall, you know, cause that mall is an asset. And I'm just really impressed with this company, and I don't wanna lose it. So I just thought I'd say that tonight.
Well, yeah, and that is true. John and I worked fairly closely with them early on when they first were contemplating their purchase, and we were impressed. They have lots and lots of good properties, and we've seen some of those properties, and then COVID comes along and puts a lot of retailers in the hole or out of business, and they have contacts with everybody in the business. If anybody can put somebody in that mall, they can.
Yeah, they got plans still, and I was just really impressed with talking with him, and I think people don't really, I think a lot of people have not even went in there since they did the remodeling to know how much.
Oh, it's nice.
Really nice it looks.
And that's a standard plan for all of their rehabs, carpet, new lighting, cover up the vacant stores and whatnot.
Kept clean, and I mean, it's just.
Yeah, and they
Really
take a
good
lot
asset
of
for
pride
us
in
right
their
now.
properties.
Just hope they get some more retail places in there.
Phelps is down to 2 employees.
I don't know, there ain't nobody in
It
there,
seems
can't
like
get checked out.
They
It's
both at lunch.
a hat trick. shopping, right?
Well, they do have some plans to pump that up, and, we certainly hope they can. As an aside to that, Bill, you may know, our retail sales, even during COVID, keep increasing. Year over year, our retail sales are strong.
You know, I was wondering about that, you know, all the there's no new cars being sold, right, in Asheboro? And so, I mean, you know,
Probably might be going down now, but
yeah,
up until last year, I mean, they were increasing, a little bit each year, and, you know, about 4 years ago, was the first time we went over $1 billion.
Yeah, and
4 or 5 years ago, it was the first time we had exceeded
the
$1 billion.
state jointly
even with no
sourcing.
new cars being sold much, retail sales keep going up, and that's good. And it looks like it just looking and driving around.
Linda Brown at the chamber tracks those numbers, so if you wanted to
Okay.
get those numbers, you could call her, and she'd be glad to share them with you.
Okay.
All right, staff, once again, you've done a good job. It was a little longer than we were expecting tonight. Appreciate all of you. Appreciate, Captain Hill, I appreciate you being here. Appreciate the work you do. Pardon?
I've said this before, I'll say it one more time on what Ms. Heath said. A young person, join the Asheboro, go to BLET, join the Asheboro Police Department. The first 2 or 3 years of your career, you're gonna get called, there's gonna be a fracas somewhere, a bunch of people, you're gonna have to park your police cruiser, control the scene, walk up in amongst them all by yourself, find out who it is, and if you got to, you might take somebody, arrest somebody, so. We have a lot of difficult jobs, a lot of highly skilled professional people. But our police officers particularly, I talk to the district attorney's office, we make lots of cases, lots and lots of cases. They don't have to send our work back because it's not right, or we violate some of the constitutional laws. We have 2 defense attorneys here on the city council, and they will tell you that if they ever beat the Asheboro Police Department, they don't beat them the second time. It may not be, they've gotta beat them for some other reason, we learn, so. But that young police officer out there is, are really one of they just do a great job for us, and you've seen I think last, 2021 was a record year for police officers killing in the line of duty, thank God we've not had that, and what happened in New York City recently, and it's just a very difficult job. And we continue to have candidates, and we continue to fund them. You let us fund them, so we pre-hire them before they go to BLET, so when they go, we've pre-screened them, they wear our uniform, they carry our weapon, they have our handcuffs, our non-lethal weapons, and thanks to you, we're really making great strides in our police department. I want to thank the council and Captain Hill and his great leadership and the whole command team over there.
We appreciate y'all's support, really, too. Appreciate the support of the council and leaders.
We also do the same thing, for the fire department, do we not?
Yes, sir, just started a couple of years ago.
So somebody that's having to work and go to school at the same time, that's a good way around that. We get good candidates that way, police and fire. Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you so much.
Mayor, I sent that, Facebook post to you.